them are actually facing, certain death. And I would like to really appeal to the government at this time to do what they can, and really pay what they owe, because I think that is the right thing to do, that is the decent thing to do, to pay the suppliers, including the media, so that they can go about their normal business. Before I talk about the dividend, because I know that is what everybody is waiting for, allow me to address a matter that is critical to the core of who we are as a group. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you are aware that in recent months, NMG has come under constant attack on our core values, and more specifically, questions about our independence. The grueling, bruising, and prolonged general election left the country divided and polarized along political lines. We saw that there was concerted effort by interest groups to influence our reporting, and even an attempt through the social media to undermine our credibility and the trust we have enjoyed over the last 60 years from our stakeholders. We saw an unprecedented proliferation of fake news and disinformation from all kinds of corners, and it was difficult at times for the readers and various stakeholders to tell what was true and what was fake. It is in this regard that I wish to re-emphasize what we recently reaffirmed publicly through the page 1 commentary recently about what our core values is, because I think many people interpret and they look at us at different ways. They have different expectations of what we are or what we stand for. So I'd just like to take this opportunity to reaffirm what Nation Media Group stands for. And I think it is good to reflect on what our origin was and why our founder, His Highness the Aga Khan, founded the nation. Nation Media Group was founded on the bedrock of a set of core values: to support independent voices, celebrate diversity, and advocate for the freedom of expression. Central to these values and the purpose of our establishment is the mission to be the trusted source of news and information, to be the media of record, to champion for the emerging young African democracies, to be the champion of the ordinary person, to be a voice for the voiceless, to be a voice for the rule of law and respect for human rights, including the rights of the minorities and disadvantaged groups. And also, most importantly, to be a strong advocate for open but caring market economy. That's what we stand for, because that is our well-being and that's why we are here. In other words, what we are talking about is that our constituency as Nation Media Group is the people of Kenya and the people of the world. Those are the people we seek to serve. Not any political or interest group or whatever it is. We try to serve the people of Kenya. To drive this agenda, we'll continue to be independent of any political influence or interest groups. We'll continue to be truthful and accurate in our reporting, balanced, fair, and objective. We'll continue to allow divergent voices and opinions in our various platforms with a view to generating healthy debate on matters that are important to the development of this nation and the world at large. These are the values we wish to be judged by, so that, when people think that Nation Media Group should be going in that direction, on that direction, no. I think we want to state publicly who we are, what we are, and what our mission is, because we want to make that extremely clear. Ladies and gentlemen, let me end by talking about the dividend and say that while obviously we have had challenges growing the profit in the last few years, I'm happy to report that the group remains strong and with a bright future. We are very confident about the group's long-term sustainability as we adapt to the new market changes in the digital era. I think the figures that Stephen presented there are very clear of where we are heading, and I think we continue to dominate that market, particularly in the digital space among the media fraternity. With this in mind, ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy to announce that the directors are recommending to the shareholders the payment of a final dividend of Kenya shillings 750 per share, which is 300% on the issued share capital as at 31st December 2017. This, ladies and gentlemen, together with the interim dividend of the 2 shillings 50 cents that we paid on the 31st of August, will bring the total dividend paid for the year 2017 to 10 shillings per share, which is the same as what we paid in 2016. We feel confident that although the growth in profit, there was no growth in profit, we are quite happy to maintain that dividend because we think, as you saw from the figures Stephen presented, we have a strong cash position, and we do think that in fact that cash belongs rightfully to the shareholders, and that's why we want to maintain that dividend. I thank you so much for listening to me, and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you, and have a good day.
Thank you so much, Chairman. Of course, the Chairman speaks for all of us, and as you rightly heard, the dividend still remains at 10 shillings a share. We are live on YouTube, on our YouTube page, nation.co.ke/events, and definitely you can engage us online using the hashtag NMGFY2017, which stands for full year 2017. Allow me at this juncture then to open the floor for question and answer session. Of course, you would start by telling us your name and your affiliation, and then making your question as short and precise as possible so that it can be addressed, of course, in the right manner. We take 3 questions at a time, of course, to Stephen Gitagama, who's our acting CEO here, and rightly so, the floor now is open for question and answer. I think a number of my colleagues are walking around with mics. It should be able to come on your end. Raise your hand kindly, introduce yourself, tell us your affiliation, and ask the shortest question that you can ask. Thank you so much. Any question? I know you have a number of questions. I've seen a number of analysts here.
The chairman talked of government debt. So the numbers have a significant provision of that government debt, well over 300 million. The other significant number for the purpose of the analysts is, you all remember we went through a reorganization at the end of the year. There is a cost to the reorganization, about 260 million, which is included in those numbers. So when the chairman says he's confident of the future, there's also a component, other than the business environment, which was driven by the prolonged electioneering period. There are also one-off items which affected the results for 2017, and this will not happen. And therefore, we expect an improvement going forward. So, questions? Any comments? The chairman wants to add something. The chairman, thank you.
Probably I should have elaborated on what I was alluding to when I talked about the fake news. Maybe to explain. I think some of you who read the social media may have read about this crazy thing about Nation Media Group being sold to the First Family, which we considered those rumors, and we thought it didn't really deserve any comment because it was such trash. I want to confirm to everybody, particularly those who think Nation Media Group is about to be sold, Nation Media Group is not for sale. The only way you are going to buy anything in Nation Media Group is through the stock exchange. We have been listed for more than maybe 30 years. So anybody who wishes to buy a part of Nation Media Group, just go to the stock exchange and you can buy a part of the Nation. But Nation Media Group is not being sold to anybody. It's not being sold to the first family, to the second family, to the third family, to the 100th family. It's not being sold to anybody. So those are some of the fake news that we were alluding to. And of course, you know, the whole point was actually to try to paint the Nation Media Group in a negative light, that, you know, the way they are reporting, you know, now they have to report very favorably in favor of Jubilee because they're about to be sold to those, those people I talked about. That is total, complete nonsense.
Thank you. Thank you for clarifying, Mr. Chairman. So, question?
Thank you very much. My name is Willis Nalonge from AID Capital. My question is that we've seen revenue dropping for the second year running. So what will be the revenue drivers for this year, and specifically for the different, the digital and the print? And also, what are the country contribution to these particular revenue drivers? If you can be able to differentiate that for us.
Okay. Next question.
My name is Bernard Curie, African Alliance. Two questions for me. One is around content creation. You talked about several innovations, so I wanted to know your strategy on content creation. Do you plan to build that in-house or through third parties? Then the second question is around the accumulating debt. Do you forecast any additional accumulation in debt, or at that level, that's what you're planning to get from the government currently? Thank you.
Yeah. Next, or the last question.
Maybe we can take a question from one of the ladies. I've seen a number of lady analysts there that I quite interact with. Ladies?
Maybe as we wait for the ladies to respond, I'll ask our editor-in-chief to comment on the question on content. Tom?
Hi, good morning. Our strategy on content creation is fairly straightforward. We have invested heavily on in-house expertise to generate the content we need, whether it's in sports, business is a big space we are in. We want to continue being the leaders in providing up-to-date information. So we have a very, very ambitious project to develop a big business portal. Obviously, Business Daily continues to be the flagship in that space. We also have a large and ambitious program for online. Those large footprint that Steve has spoken about, the 32 million visitors, are actually being driven there by the variety of news that we are giving. Because primarily we know Nation as a legacy media, a news platform. So we were reporting news. But in space, the digital area, there is a different experience there. People are coming for all sorts of things. They come to interact with videos. They want to interact with different things about lifestyle. Some are coming to transact stuff. So we are looking for partnerships also, which is the best example I can give right now is the Kenya bus thing. So we acquired that because it was speaking to audiences that we didn't have, mainly young people, providing news about events, cuisine, art, and so on and so forth. So where we find something like that which we did not have, we acquire it, or we go into partnerships. We'll be seeing a lot of stuff around travel, lifestyle, and so on and so forth. So we are working with all sorts of people because we want to be the platform that gives you anything that you want. We want you to come online, and when you're looking for whatever it is you're looking for, whether it's through search or direct visiting of our website, you actually land on one of our platforms. We're doing the same in Uganda. We're doing the same in Tanzania. So it's really a little bit of both, contracted partnerships and our own in-house generation. Yeah.
Thank you. Just to address the question by Willis, maybe I'll try and share. There's a slide I had on our objectives, which I didn't show. Now, in terms of the question of revenue, traditionally the business has relied on advertising and circulation. Those two have been the main drivers for the business. Now, increasingly, we've seen the two segments being threatened. What we are looking at, and that's one of our primary objectives, let me just, no, sorry, there you are. Those are our business objectives. If you look at the top, we will continue to protect and grow current business because that's our cash cow. Then we have significant focus on new revenue streams. I gave examples of some of these revenue streams. A number of them are driven by our digital platform. We had an example of the Nation Leadership Forum. So our focus going forward is actually exploring the new revenue areas. There are a number of people who have never advertised in the newspapers, for example, the SMEs. Or if we are able to tap on the SMEs in the country, that is all going to be new revenue streams. We don't have to continue relying on the big revenue providers. We don't have to continue relying on some of the traditional revenue sources. So these are our key focus areas, and starting even from 2016, we have significantly driven our business through new revenue initiatives. Now, in terms of the distribution of the revenue across the different countries, Kenya continues to be a significant contributor. To be specific, about 60% of the revenue is from Kenya. Then the other countries share the balance. The other question from Bernard on debt. We want to continue doing business with government. We are engaging government. We are positive that payments will be received, and we've seen it in the past. It's not the first time we've had a difficult payment situation. In 2013, in the last election, we had significant debt with IEBC and a number of government agencies, and most of that debt was cleared. It took long, but it was paid. You know, government is a lender of last resort, and we therefore want to continue engaging them, and we are optimistic that payments will be received. So I hope I've responded to that question. So you notice digital focus, culture, and at the center is a customer. Any other question? Maybe we close. Going? No lady. I want to give the priority to a lady as Eden requested. Okay, then you can ask.
George Obulutsa with Reuters News. Question I have is with regard to, have you done any calculations in terms of how your circulation has been affected by the exit of several columnists, I think in last month? Thanks.
Okay. I don't know who I'll ask. Chairman, you can make a comment. You didn't make a comment on that matter.
The exit of columnists, I don't think it will affect circulation, because, you know, I think Kenya, luckily, we have a lot of talent from all over the place. So basically, the exit of 3 or 4 or 5 columnists is neither here nor there. I think our brand is not dependent on individual, columnists or anything. I think Nation Media Group is a brand in itself. I think in terms of how much columnists may think that they are the brand, actually they are not. Nation Media Group is the brand. People know what we stand for, what we do. And as I just stated there before in my presentation, Nation Media Group will continue to encourage and divergent views in our columns, as we have done. As those people, whoever they were, they have had the platform for years and years, expressing themselves in whichever way, manner. Sometimes not necessarily everybody agreed with them, but that's the nature of our platforms. So in short, we are not expecting that they'll have any impact at all. As you see, we have already started replacing them. And there's also, I think, a good thing sometimes to refresh. Anything that you have, you need to sometimes refresh with the new ideas, with new people, and so on. We are not short of talent, so I think we will get people to replace them as quickly as possible. But what we'll do is to ensure that our platforms become the platform where healthy debates can take place, both with divergent views and opinions, because it's only when we debate about the things that are important to us as a nation that we can actually move forward. So Nation Media Group will continue to provide that platform for people to express themselves in whichever manner. But also, I think in terms of our editorial policy, we do have standards. which we expect. And I think the editors, they have the final say on what they want to have on their platform or not. Depending on the very clearly understood the principles and the ethics and the policies that we have followed for the last 60 years.
Thank you, Chairman. I can confirm the numbers have not declined. We've not seen a change. In fact, if you walk in the street and ask, even here, to mention 3 or 2 of the columnists who left, most people might not know. The brand of NMG is stronger than individuals. It doesn't depend on 1 or 2 individuals. Today, if the chairman or half of these managers leave, NMG will continue, and therefore, it's a strong brand and it can stand on its own. So any final question that you might have before we close or have a vote of thanks? Okay, Mr. Chairman.
Is it final?
It's the last one.
Last one, eh?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. As you honored me before, I also honor yourself because we have been friends for a long time. Thank you, Tom. Before you came here, I know we met somewhere in another in another gazette, I've been in another forum. And Gatamana, I got you here, but you have stayed for long. You are my friends. And those who have come new to join, be committed, na mwe dedicated, na mwendelee kufanya kazi mzuri katika nation. Sidhani kama kuna mzungu hapa ambaye hasikii Kiswahili. Now, my comment is this, that there has been a trend of most employees, most management, most CEOs leaving nation. What measures do you take so that some other employees who are here get experienced, they write well for us, and they stay under protection? Now, I would like to have an answer from chairman because of the top management, acting CEO because of the management, and our human resource because of the employees who leave. Those are 3. 2, for how long, I think the board is here. Should one act, like now our final director is now acting.
Thank you.
For how long should he act so that it can be confirmed? So that this position should not be a vacuum. That everybody now start being interested, or I'll do an interview, so that it becomes, so that it comes to be filled. That one I would like to know. Now the last one, I don't want to tie you up. When you talked about education, Busia County, where you come from, the home where you come from is where you also enjoy. We are not being treated, given magazines, no health, no farming. So I think this information should also go to Busia County. Busia County are not very rich, they are also poor people, plus myself. So that one should be considered either by Mr. Kilif, who is doing very well, but should not be removed there. You can only motivate him. And where is Naomi? Naomi is doing very well and she has been here for long. Don't leave her on that, remove her from that position, but just motivate her. Motivate her. So I think the board is here, is hearing, the management is hearing, and everybody is hearing. So and then the last one, nation is almost everywhere. And some people have been criticizing nation when they write, they are independent. Our young people are independent here, and they write what they hear. So some people make noises, and they have talked bad about it, and they want to escape that accusation that nation has written. So there must be measures that the board and management, and also our patron, His Highness Aga Khan, can also step in and then tell these people that I think what nation have written is true and fair. And yeah, it's true and fair, but they have not even diverted anything. So I think with those few, let me thank my analysts, because I've been learning with them always. They know me. So I've also become a teacher, because when you learn, you also get experience, you also become an analyst. So it is good that we are here all together, but we share together. We are partners in business. Thank you very much, Bwana Chairman. Asante sana. Asante sana, analysts and the press. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Bwana Chami. Chami is one of our oldest and strong shareholder. So the chairman recognized him earlier on. Maybe I'll start from the bottom, climbing up, and end with the chairman. So from HR, I was told HR is supposed to respond to this issue of staff.
Good morning, everyone. Okay, what I can say is that we're a very strong brand and we attract good talent, but sometimes people have to move on. When they move on, that's when we get an opportunity to even promote and grow the remaining talent. Yeah, you've just been introduced to some new managers. They got an opportunity to be promoted when some people moved on. And then we have Alex here. Alex, can you wave? Alex was working with LMG about maybe 8 years ago, and he's come back as a managing director. That tells you that there's something good in Nation. He came back on a promotion. So we continue building talent and capacity, and we assure you that even when staff leave, the ones that remain are very strong and they continue building the brand.
Thank you. Just to add on that, I mentioned earlier on that we had a reorganization. Now, I think there's been some mix-up or some confusion out there. There are a number of people who left because we actually either requested them to leave, or most of them actually their jobs were declared redundant. They were, because of the improvement and the investments we are putting in, certain positions were declared redundant. And that's really part of our continuous growth, continuous improvement on the product and on our operations. So that affected a number of the staff who left. But I can assure you, we continue to grow our staff. We give them appropriate training. We have the best. When you are the leaders in the market, everybody looks at you. If you go to any media house in this country, it is actually, you wonder whether you are in Nation, because all media houses are occupied by NMG employees. That's a good thing. Means we are also contributing to the growth and development of media in this country. Now, on the issue of Busia, Clifford has taken that note, and we are not going to favor you, I can assure you, because everybody else will start standing. And what about Turkana? What about Kericho? So we will definitely have a look at Busia. You've seen the counties we have covered, and I'm sure Busia must be on the queue. It's just we can't do all the counties at the same time. Maybe the chairman can comment on the other questions. Yeah.
Thank you. I think, Mr. Chami, I think the questions you ask are very important, because you know the human resource is really the most important resource for any organization. And therefore, you know, when there are issues regarding the staff, it's something that the board takes extremely seriously. Let me say this, that in Nation Media Group, we have a very robust succession planning, at least at most levels, I must add. And therefore, you found that when our CEO left, unfortunately, there is no vacuum. And I think if you just look at the presentation by Stephen, I think you'll agree with me, it's not like people are feeling we don't have a CEO. Life goes on. And I think that's what Stephen was saying, that I think as an institution and as a brand, we are not dependent on any one person. If the chairman gets knocked by the bus today, thank God, touch wood, it doesn't happen. I'm not in a hurry to go. I can assure you Nation Media Group will carry on. It doesn't really matter who leaves, because our brand is that strong, and also because in terms of our succession planning, we made arrangements. You ask how long should somebody be in an acting capacity? Not long. I think what we said is that when it comes to recruiting for the CEO, first and foremost, we do look inside to see whether there is somebody who can fill that position. And I can assure you that we have some candidates, internal candidates, that we are looking at very, very seriously. We are also looking outside, because I think for listed companies, it is important to make sure that you have the best that the market has to offer, including those within. So our internal candidates will be competing with those from outside. Of course, they should be able to have an upper hand if they have what it takes. So it shouldn't take long, and we are right in the middle of that exercise right now. But as we have done in all the cases before, when it comes to filling the CEO's role, you ensure you have the best, so that there is no problem there. The second point is about staff retention. I think it is maybe flattering that when other media houses are looking for talent, they come to the nation, because this is where the talent is. I think and of course, because we are the big brothers in the marketplace, inevitably people will come to us. We don't necessarily take that as a negative thing, because in fact, as the HR person has said, it gives also opportunities for other people to grow. Because sometimes when people stay in one place for too long, they suppress those below them. And to be honest with you, I can tell you, like those people who have left the television, the NTV, there are some very happy people in there who are now seeing the opportunity to go up. So that's life, and that's how it goes. You'll be seeing new faces, you know, of people who you never knew that they were within the group, and now suddenly they have a chance to rise. So it's not a bad thing. So we're not terribly worried about those exits. They have gone, they have come back, and this is not the first time we are facing a raid. I think 2, 3, 4 years ago, one of our own was promoted to be the CEO at a competitor media house, and he came and raided the whole place. I think we lost about, it wasn't poaching, it was a raid, you know, like the Turkanas go and raid the Pokots and things like that, and they swept everybody around, and we are still here. I'm sorry to say that a lot of those people who were swept away, many of them are not there, and some of them have come back. So I don't think we want to be too fussy about these things. I think those people will go. It's a free market economy anyway, and some of them, if somebody is generous enough to go and offer them 3 times the salary that they were getting in NMG, we tell them, mtoto wangu, tafadhali, you know, we are all trying to raise families. Go there with our blessings. So that there are no hard feelings about that. I think that's how the market goes. In terms of accuracy, and just to reiterate our core values, we don't always get it right, but we do try very hard. But what we can promise everybody here is that we'll be true, we'll report the truth, and we'll be totally unapologetic about telling the truth for what it is. We'll also strive very much to be accurate in what we report, so that when people are complaining, people may not sometimes like the truth, because sometimes the truth hurts, but if it's the truth, that's what we'll be. But also, in doing that, we also try to exercise a level of responsibility as responsible citizens of this country, which we are. So basically, it is balancing all that, and that's why I try to explain what we are, what we stand for, so that there is no confusion out there whether the Nation Media Group belongs to that arm or to that arm. Nation Media Group belongs to the Kenyan people. Those are the people we try to serve, and to try to serve them to the best of our ability.
Don't seem to have any more questions. Most of you, I don't know whether you know this gentleman. He's among the new talent, Hudaifa Aden. Yeah, you know, space was created for him. You can see now he's trying to do a good job. Thank you.
Thank you for the endorsement, Born Acting CEO. I hope, of course, I'd grow and be able to fill in the gap that was left by my colleagues.
It goes with the salary.
It also goes with the salary, as the chairman rightly mentioned. Thank you so much. Of course, that marks the end of the question and answer session. Allow me to introduce the head of corporate and regulatory affairs, Mr. Clifford Machoka, to give a vote of thanks. Cliff is a representative of the youth, the executive team. Cliff.
Good morning, everyone. Allow me this time to extend a very warm, hearty gratefulness from all of us First of all, I'd like to thank all of you for coming to this investor briefing. I think it's been a refreshing couple of discussions and deliberations. But I also want to thank our shareholders. I can see Daktari there. He's always faithful. He never misses any investor briefing. Chami as well as all the fund managers, the analysts who are here. Most of you, I think we've come to interact and know each other personally. Thank you again for being able to honor our invitations and coming to the Stanley very early in the morning. Allow me also this time to thank the Stanley, who have always had a long-term partnership with us and were able to secure this space for us. Our suppliers, the gentlemen who offer our PA systems and everything that we're using here. This event will not have been successful without our own internal resource. You can see we have our cameraman here. We have our digital team here. Please give them a hearty round of applause. I'm here with obviously my colleagues, the leadership team and other senior managers. I want to thank you for making it here very early in the morning. Chairman, it is always a pleasure to have you come whenever you're able to make it. And also our distinguished guests. I can see Kiragu here. We always seem to meet only on investor briefing, but it's good to have you here. Lastly and last on the list is my team. This will not have been anyway successful if they did not put the sweat and brow into this. So I'd like to thank Naomi. Where is Naomi? At the back. I'd like to thank Kenya. Where is Kenya? Susan. Where is Muli? I think he's where is Muli? Somewhere outside. Please, with all humility, please give them a round of applause. We hope to see you again for the half year. Thank you very much. Asanteni sana and Mungu awabariki.
Thank you so much for honoring our invitation to come here today. Of course, we will be interacting. Some of us would remain behind. Of course, we'll be interacting with you, exchanging cards, and of course, be briefing you some more. Of course, breakfast is still being served. The ones who did not have breakfast, you can join us for breakfast. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you.